Malaysian from Malaysia?
I wish. You got it.
Gewaldig.
You ever swing? Let me see your son-in-law.
Oh yeah? You know my son-in-law, Mayor?
What's his last name?
Jacobs.
You can tell your son-in-law, he comes this year.
All right. Daf Tzadikei. Starting off with a great story. Ahu Tabacha. There was a butcher. Domalei Chavrei, and he told his enemy. Chavrei means his enemy in this story. Yahavas Paisis Minoi. If you would have made up with me, Miloi Saifi Loch Mishor Shel Patim Davdi Etmol. Rashi says they hated each other. So he tells him, look, if you would have made up with me, you would have had a real good steak yesterday when I made my barbecue. Omarlei, achli mishufri shufri. What are you talking about? I had your meat. I had the best of the best. I don't need you. I don't need to make up. Omarlei minalach. Where'd you get it from? Omarlei, the zavan ploini goy usafali. I bought it from that goy. Omarlei trei avdi. Idiot. I made two. The one I sold to the goy, vahu trei vahava. I got you. He figured he was going to say this, and you should know, what I sold to the guy was a treif, so you had a nice juicy steak, treif. So how do you like that steak now? Omar Rebbe, b'shvil shoyt zeh, sh'asa shloika hoige, and on an kolam and kolam. Says the Gemara, look, just because this guy said that he sold a guy treifa when he wasn't supposed to, so we can't shut down all the guy butcher shops, so therefore, even that day, everything is mutter. Besides, Taisus points out the butcher shop of that guy. The question is, what about Russia? All these different things. So they all talk about these different things. How's a person believed to say after the fact? Even forget about. First of all, Russia. But after the fact, the person can't say, "Oh, that Sefer Torah that I wrote, by the way, is not kosher." He's not believed anymore. Once it's out of his hands, now he's not believed. Oh, they discuss it. I'll go upon him. The question is whether or not he was serious or he's just trying to trap his friend.
The important thing is that what he did wrong
The what?
I'm talking about when they were making an announcement.
Yeah. Right, but there was no announcement that day.
And he didn't say it.
Right.
So that's what he did wrong.
Yeah. Says the Gemara, Rebbe the Tamei. Rebbe holds you're allowed to buy from a goy. When are you allowed to buy from a goy? In a place that they make announcements. In a place that they don't make announcements, you can't buy from a goy. But in a place that they announce whenever there's a treifa, today there's no announcement, you're allowed to buy from a goy. Obviously, he's talking about a city that most of the butchers are Jewish. So you samich on a roiv. Forget about badat. Forget about everything else. We have a roiv in this city. Everything is kosher, and when there's a treifa, everybody gets notified, and therefore it's not an issue. You did ya?
He did, yes. I asked him on Friday morning. He said that the roiv and Jewish are Jewish. The roiv for him are non-Jewish. So whenever there's a treifa, then you have to announce it.
I don't think he was talking about every single, not every case like that. I don't think every.
It wasn't that the sheikh not Jewish. The sheikh was.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who sells. The selling is the point. Maybe that's what it means. It doesn't matter who sells. The point is that the most of the meat in that place is kosher. Yeah. Who sells it exactly is not important. The tabachim are the butchers. The guys that make the meat are Jewish.
Do you sell non-kosher meat?
No.
Okay, so I'm saying it's the same idea.
Why is it the same idea?
Because if you're buying it, then roiv of the people think that it's kosher. It's like a...
Yeah, but we're talking about that he bought it from a guy. This guy bought it from a guy. The seller was a guy. He thought he's buying a kosher steak. It turns out that the guy that sold him the steak said, I sold him a treifa. What you bought from him was not kosher. And he wasn't allowed to do that because he should have announced that it was treif. And he didn't. So the guy was a bad guy. So anyways, let's just finish. Let's see what happened there. So there's two ways to look at the Gemara, says the Gemara. Either the guy was a bad guy, and he really sold a treif animal to a guy when he wasn't supposed to. He was supposed to announce it, he didn't announce it. And Rebbe said, it's not a problem. Don't shut everybody down. You don't shut all the goyim down for that day. One guy did a bad thing, don't buy from that one guy. He just wanted to play a practical joke on the guy. He wasn't serious that he actually sold. He wanted to make him feel bad. He said, oh, you ate treif, but it wasn't really treif. He never sold a treif animal to the other guy. So if you stop right here, and you say that Rebbe said it was a practical joke, meaning that if it wasn't a practical joke, if he was sincere, that he really did sell treif to a guy, you would have to shut down all the goyim that day. Now, Vatanya Rebbe Oimer Makoilim Tabachi Yisrael Basar Animsa B'Yad Goy Mutar, but Rebbe holds that you're allowed to buy from a guy. Shani Hachad is Chazik Yisura. Once there's a reason to believe that there's a problem with the goyim for that particular day, then you shut down all the goyim. And now we're going into the famous halacha of Basar shenisalmin ayin. Basar shenisalmin ayin. I don't know if everybody's familiar, but if you have a piece of meat that's unwatched, even for a moment, you're not allowed to use it. Omar Rav, Basar kivin shenisalmin ayin osur. What's the problem? The issue is that perhaps the meat that you bought, which was kosher at the time, is no longer the same meat that we're looking at. Maybe an animal did a switcheroo, a bird came in, a bird switched it, a bird switched it. You want to call a bird a guy, that's fine. You can call a bird whatever you want. A raven. According to Izmucholig on the Gemara, he says a guy, but okay. Whatever you...
You said demon switched it as well.
And the bird, what?
The demon switched it as well.
No, that we don't have to be cheshish. Maybe a crazy raven bird. He had a nice piece of meat and he saw a better piece in your house, so he did a switcheroo. Now, on this halacha, first of all, the Gemara is going to say in a second that Rab didn't really say it. We inferred from a story that happened that Rab meant it. We didn't really say it. But now the Gemara goes through a series of questions and takes us through a wild ride through Shas, through all these famous sugis in Shas. Meisvei Rebbe Yomer, Makoilim et Abachi Yisrael, Basar Nimsa B'Yad Goy Mutter. You're allowed to buy a piece of meat from a goy. Whoever wasn't here the other day, it's an insane halacha. Not only don't you have to worry about the badats and then Reuben and everything else, but you could go into a butcher shop and buy a nice piece of meat. Why? Because most of the people, there's only a 49% chance that meat is treif, and memela you're allowed to eat it. Because when it goes by the Torah, we go by roiv. And since there's 51% chance that it's kosher, you're allowed to buy it. Okay, but what's the problem?
If you go to a supermarket, someone buy a goy, you're buying kosher meat from them.
Yeah, but it says kosher on it, and it has a plumb and it's sealed. No, unsealed meat.
You don't think here that there was...
No, there's no seals, nothing. Watch this whole sugya.
That's the idea.
The whole idea is that you find the open piece of meat. Yeah, if it's sealed, it's not a meat. So, but what's the Gemara's question now? How in the world can you buy a piece of meat from a guy? It's basar shenisalmin ayin. What if he walked away for 5 minutes? Well, you know that the guy is watching the whole time? Says the Gemara, what?
It can't be like a Jewish person watching?
That's not a chiddush. No, there's no Jew watching. It's completely a goyish restaurant. It's a butcher shop. He most likely got that meat that day from a Jew. Says the Gemara, Ninsa b'yad goy shani. Pshat is that the guy is going to make sure he has a chazakah that he's going to watch his meat. He doesn't want ravens messing around with his meat, so he's going to watch it. Maybe for a moment he turned around. That's not our problem. We don't have to worry that maybe he didn't watch it. We have a chazakah, he's going to watch it. He watch it, so we don't have to worry. Toshma, Teisha Chanuyos, the famous halacha of 9 stores. Yeh Mendi, Teisha Chanuyos. Kulon moichrois basar shchuta, ve'achas moicheres basar nevela. So you have 1 store of treif. He bought a piece of meat and he doesn't remember what store he walked into. Sveke Yasur. Anybody remember why it's Asur? He has a roiv. Because we have a What does that mean? Since the stores are stationary, where did the suffix occur? In the store. Anything that's stationary, it loses its roiv. So it went from 90% kosher and 10% treif to 50-50. Because it's stationary, he went into the store and the suffix occurred in the store. He doesn't remember if he went into the kosher store or the treif store. What if but if he found a piece of meat outside of the stores, then he no longer was in the stationary place. Now the suffix occurred outside, so now you have to go by. Now you can go by the roiv. Most of the stores are kosher. So again, here's the unbelievable halacha where a guy finds a piece of steak. It could be treif chazer. There's a 10% chance. Since 90% chance it's kosher, I don't care from which one of the 9 stores. It could be Lubavitch, it could be Bedat. It's kosher. You're allowed to eat it. Okay. In those days it was different. They were better. They were machmirin. They were better sheichtim. It was different. Fine. So, but what's the problem? So everybody knows this case. This is a famous Teisha Chanuyas case. But what's the shayla on Rav? Rav says Basar shenisalmin is asur. Why is this not considered Basar shenisalmin? You just found a piece of steak outside. Nobody was watching it. It was on the sidewalk for 10 minutes until you came along. So it should be asur for you to eat. Not because of the problem of the treif store, but because it's Basar shenisalmin. Maybe a bird came from another city of treif, only treif butcher shops, and he dropped a piece of meat there. It's talking about that you found it in the guy's hand, and therefore he washed it. And where did he get it from? He got it from one of the 9 stores, and Mamela it's mutter. Toshma.
He found it in his hand.
He found a guy had a piece of meat. You're right. It's not 100%. He found a guy that found a piece of meat in that area, and it was always watched.
Maybe somebody.
As we're going to see soon.
And the guy picks it up straight away.
Right, and we're going to have that soon. That we're going to have soon. The guy.
It would be 50-50 because we don't know that he going to kosher store. If he says I bought it, but I don't remember which store, it's still a problem.
Right, exactly. If the guy found it outside, then it's a whole different. Then well, here's the thing. By a guy, even if the guy, right, you bring a good point. Even if the guy went into the store, you don't have kol kavua k'mechza mechzadami because there was no suffix that started when the guy bought the meat. Because when a guy buys a piece of meat, he doesn't have to buy kosher. So the suffix didn't start when he bought it. The suffix started when he had it in his hand afterwards, when he made the transaction with the Jew. When the Jew got it from him. That's when the suffix started. And that happened outside of the stores, and therefore it's called the Parsh Meruba Parsh. Chab? The suffix only happens when a Jew goes into the store and he doesn't know what he bought, so the suffix was for him. But when a guy goes in the store, there's no suffix. We don't care what he bought because he doesn't have to buy kosher. So therefore, he doesn't create a suffix inside a store which is stationary. The suffix by him only begins outside. Tashma, matzav basar, halach acher roiv tabachim. If a person found a piece of meat in the street, so then you look at what is the majority of the butchers that shecht meat, and since let's say they're mostly Jews, you're allowed to eat the meat. V'mevushal, if it's cooked meat, so now it has nothing to do with butchers because it's cooked in somebody's pot. So then we go by the roiv of the people in that city. V'mevushal halach acher roiv oichli basar. Now we can't say that pshat, that a guy, he got it from a guy. Because if he got it from a guy, then who cooked it? It had to be that the guy cooked it. I know you're talking all the way down there, but it disturbs all the way up here. So it can't be that you found it by the guy, because then the guy, you have to assume the guy cooked it. Says the Gemara, what happened was a guy dropped a piece of meat, and you noticed that he dropped a piece of meat, and then he got on a bus or whatever, he ran away, you couldn't catch him, and now you know that the piece of meat was always watched because you saw it from the time that it fell and you picked it up, so you could assume that the guy that dropped it was Jewish and he bought it from a Jewish place or whatever. That's what happened. Tashma nimsa begvulin. So the Mishnah says like this: if you find a large piece of meat in Beis Hamikdash, uncut, you have to assume that it's from an oila, because oila you put the whole thing on as is. If you find a cut up piece of meat, they don't cut up oilas. So what is it? Probably a chatas. Now, if you find the same large piece of meat sitting in the middle of a street, nothing to do with Beis Hamikdash, evarim nevelos, then you assume it's an avela. Guy's trying to get rid of it. Chatichos mutares. So if we just stop here and we don't understand what's going on, it would seem like if you find a chopped up piece of meat in the middle of the street, it's mutter to what? To eat it. That's the pashtus. Why? It's nice and juicy, it's red, it's fresh, it smells good. It's even packaged, just doesn't have a hefsher on it. Mutter. Now, what's the problem? It is basar shenisalmin ayin. Even if you're going to say that you saw the guy drop it from his wagon before he got into the car, so if you saw him drop it, so then you saw him drop a large piece also, so that should also be a mutter. And the Mishnah says there's a difference between large piece and small piece. You're asking me a question of Rav, that Rav said basar shenisalmin ayin is asur. Rav right there in the Mishnah explains. Rav amar mutar is mishum nevela. It's not mutter to eat. It's just not tamei like an avelo. So therefore, there's no question. If you find a piece of cut up meat in the middle of the street, Rav explains you're only allowed to touch it and not become tamei, but you're not allowed to eat it. The Levi Omar mutar is bachila. Levi's mechulak, and he says you're allowed to even eat it because he doesn't hold of this whole basar shenisalmin ayin business. Now the Gemara says a story that tells us that Rav never said this halacha of basar shenisalmin ayin is asur. What happened was, what the Rav la have a ferry shitmar. Elon miklala itmar. The Rav have a Yosef amabara di ishtatyo. Going back, there's a whole thing now in the Gemara from yesterday till today. There's a few stories of people going on boats and ferries. They're very into their ferry. So Rav was waiting for a ferry. Chazi lau gavro da'ava kom chaver reisha. He saw a guy rinsing out a head in the river, in the water. It fell out of his hand into the water. Also, silta. So he went and he brought some basket, like a net. Shoda, he threw it into the water. Asik train, he pulls out of the water 2 heads instead of 1. Omarav, avdin amihachi. Wow, it's interesting. This is how it works. You put in 1, you take out 2. Asur ale. He said that both asur. So we assume the reason why Rav said it's asur is because basar shenisalmin ayin also. In other words, what happened was, this was a city of Jewish people. Roiv were Jews. If Roiv are Jews, you could assume that all the heads that fell into the river, even though it wasn't from him, is a kosher head. So then why did Rav say that it's also to eat? It should be Roiv. Just like if you find a head in front of 9 stores, outside it's mutter. So if you find the head inside the river, even though it's a little gross, it should be mutter. The answer is because Rav said it's basar shenisalmin ayin. He didn't say it, but he said it's asur. So we have to assume that there's a new concept called basar shenisalmin ayin, and it's asur.
I mean, the bird dropped it into the river.
Yeah, that a bird. What happened was very good. A bird came from another city and brought us a head, and he didn't like the head, and he dropped it into the water. These are massive birds, by the way. We'll see soon. These are birds that could lift full animals. Amr le Rav Kahana v'Rav Aski le Rav, the Isur shchichi, the Ter le shchichi. Why are you assuming that it's also? Maybe it came from the Jew. Amr le the Isura shchichet fei. Well, it makes more sense that there's more Isur over there. What's going on over here? So what if there's? So the Gemara is going to explain a little bit. So let's say Rav didn't say it specifically. But it's pretty obvious that it's basar shenisalmin ayin. Otherwise, what other reason could it be that this basar should be asur? You go by a roiv, most of the people that live there are Jewish. Says the Gemara, parvasa de goyim havi. If you look in Rashi, the Ramasik parvasa de goyim havi, he says nomel, port. Pei vav reish tes. Nomel is a port. It's a goyish port. You're right that the whole city is Jews. They're all Jewish and the roiv are Jews, but the boat drivers, the ferry guys are all goyim. So merely you have to assume that the meat in the water is problematic. Teida the Kamar Luhu the Sur Shchichet Vei.
He's saying the pool area is like a separate tank.
Yeah. That area, that specific area, has a different rive.
What area is mostly
Just like by the Teisha Chanuyas, you have that street, that wherever those stores are, has its own little rive. So the port also has a rive. And he even says, Rav, the Isur Shchichet Vei. Why would Rav say Isur Shchichet Vei? So we understood Isur Shchichet Vei because the whole world has more non-kosher meat than kosher meat, and therefore the bird came and dropped it in from a non-kosher source. But he's saying no. That actual place is more shchich to have Isur because it's owned by Goyim.
You see from the story that it's not just about it's only about birds, because if only one had dropped in, he would have. That's also shenisalmin. Went underwater. He doesn't see it anymore.
Oh, so Tais is talking about that because they say that he did watch it the whole time. He watched that area, knowing that nobody else dropped something else in. If he would only pull one head out, one head went in, one head went out, and he watched it the whole time that nobody else dropped the head in there, so that's the head that fell in. You're right, he couldn't see it on the water.
You can see it though. It's shenisalmin. If you take it literally, if you try to take the words literally, it's about the bird case. That's the point I'm making. It's not about literally.
Well, no, but if you know that something, if you know
these cases, I didn't see the meat the whole time.
Time out. What if you locked it up in a cage? Is that Basar shenisalmin? No, as the Gemara is going to say in 2 seconds. I'm saying if you lock it in a box, you put it in nobody could get to it. Put it in a freezer. It's not Basar shenisalmin.
You know everything that's in that box. It's the difference. You don't know what's in the water.
Yeah, but you dropped it right over here. Like that lady, she had her wedding band on and she dropped it in the water and she called the scuba diver and he went in and guess what? He couldn't find it. This is a great mice. I love that mice. I always think about it. He goes in, puts it in his pocket. I went down there. It's not there. What are you talking about? I have no idea. It's like, but it was right here. Where could it go? Like she dropped it. She was on the dock and she dropped it. There's only like a 1 foot area where it could be. So yeah, I mean, they dropped the head in. And then they went with the net, and they got the head out. Like, what else could it be? It's not like. I understand what you're saying. Like, you can't see it, but it's like.
Came from
It didn't go.
upstream.
Came from upstream.
From the Goya city's upstream.
This is a disgusting river. I don't want
I know
to.
the thing is, when it says that
Don't put your feet in there. It's like what?
The river in India where they put all the bodies in.
They do. I saw the river in India on the side of the river. They put the body, and the vultures come and eat the body. That I saw. They put them into the river too. Really?
It's very first they throw in the water.
No. What do they do with that? No, nobody swims in that river. I hope.
When it says it's a port, maybe because the ships are coming in and they have lots of meat, then
Yeah.
lots of meat, so maybe it doesn't mean necessarily that there's no
people-
fire over there, but the fire there is
I hear.
We're all building up for the street at the moment.
What? Yeah. We don't have a place yet. If anybody has a good idea, we're still open for ideas. All right, we have now a big garden in Gimel, but we need a place for the actual shechita. It's problematic. Okay, Basar Hashem, everybody keep. Yeah. No, I spoke to Ehrenfeld. He said that it really leaves a smell in the house. It's not good to do indoors. But I think Prushim already has that smell. All right.
How about the Chatzir outside of the Chatzir outside of Prushim?
They don't watch this stuff, do they? This YouTube is not a.
There's a big cover.
What?
There's a big cover
Where?
in the Chatzir just outside of Prushim. There's like a big place with a cover, a cement area.
Yeah, we should do the. Yeah, but it's gonna get dirty and then the Yeah, we can't do it outside. I think we should just rent Prushim and call it a day. And maybe do the shechita outside on plastics. I think it would be a good idea. Okay, fine. So now the Gemara says, El Rav, Heichi Ocha Bisra. Wait a minute, how did Rav ever eat meat?
Bring it shachar.
Huh?
Bring it shachar.
No, but people want to see the shechita.
So let him go wherever he does it.
No, it's shown town.
Wherever people are not coming for the shechita, there's 2 groups. Half of them.
You buy Seiman.
Fine. El Rav, Heichi Ocha Bisra. How did Rav eat Basar? We saw makban on Basar shenisalmin ayin. Says the Gemara, there's 3 ways. B'shaite, either he ate it right away, right after the shechita, the le'alam enim. He made sure that it was always under supervision. Iboisem be'betzayra v'chatima was locked up and it had a what?
Plumber.
A plumba. V'inami b'simona, or the meat had a siman. Ki hod Rav Huna mechatich le atlas karnosa. if you cut the meat like triangles, like Hamantashin, Purim time, so in Mela, you know that this is your meat. Every triangle is your meat, and it's not from a bird is not going to come and drop a triangular piece of meat on your table. So if you had a triangle on your table and you have a triangle when you come back, that's probably what you had there. Nobody switched it out.
One synonym is just they cut a triangle.
Who?
They cut a triangle shape into the meat.
Where is this? You mean in the?
They want to make cinnamon on a piece of meat. They cut out a triangle.
It's like putting a brand in.
Based on this Gemara,
Yeah.
like stam, like a minhag kind of thing.
They put a
Hey,
brand.
look at that, that's a trap. Not they cut the meat.
What did they do? Who was saying it? Did they write the date a certain way? I forgot how they do it. They carve in the date. If it says Tesvav, whatever, so they have a certain way that the goyim can't imitate it. They don't. It's like a weird. I forgot what it was. Okay.
He ain't saying just if they cut a triangle in it, that would be a cinnamon, enough cinnamon.
Right. Okay. I mean, this is more like the whole piece. This is that the whole piece is a triangle.
There's two issues here. There's one is that you've got a cinnamon to identify the meat,
Yeah.
and there's another a chashash of fraud. There's somebody trying to. So all these things where they try to do signature, that's against fraud.
Yeah, we're not talking about fraud here,
No,
no?
we're not talking about that. But I'm saying
Avi, we got battery. It's working.
when
Schmack.
5%
we do our synonym,
No.
we are conscious.
So we do other things. We tie it, we lock it up, and put a lock on it. And I'm saying they have. I forgot what it was. Who was just saying that they write the date of the week and the month in Jewish, like the Jewish way, but they do it in a way that only a Jew knows that it's Monday, Yom Sheni, Tesvav. I forgot. They have a trick. All right. Rav Rav Chonon Chasone. Do you guys know these stories? Because just familiar from last time. Rav was going to his son-in-law's house. He saw the ferry again with the ferry. He saw the ferry coming towards him. Without him even calling the taxi showed up. If the boat shows up on its own, that's a siman. It's going to be a great day. Come above, it's a yontiv. There's going to be meat. There's going to be a whole suit. There's going to be a party. Come above. So he gets to his son-in-law's house. He's by the door. He peeks inside. There's a slit over there in the door. He peeks inside. He sees an animal hanging.
They came up and greeted him.
You saw the Erev Shabbos. Torah Abava. So he knocks on the door. Rav, the father-in-law, Galadar, he's here. Everybody runs. What happens when you run out the door? You forget about the meat. Also, the Bachanami, even the chef, even the shoichet, he also ran out. Says the Gemara, Lo Yalam Rabbeinu Minei. Everybody's hugging and kissing him, and he's like looking that direction. He's like, yeah, Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem. I can just picture it. He's like, instead of like getting into the hug, his eyes are somewhere else. He's focused on the meat. Lo Yalam Rabbeinu Minei. Amalahu, and then he tells them, with if I wouldn't be checking out the meat the entire time, you would have mamish made me eat something also. Says the Gemara, Rav Ma'u Bisra. At the end of the day, even though he watched it and there was no Basar shenisalmin, he didn't eat from it. My time, this is going to blow your mind. My time, it can't be because he wasn't watching it. Elo de nachash. Oh, maybe because he was over and listen nachashu. There's an isur d'oraisa to predict the future. This is a shtickle problem with different babas and stuff, but you know how to predict the future.
Whatever they predicted doesn't come out anyway.
50% of the time it does.
In this case, it did.
Yeah. So you're not allowed to be nachash. V'amarav, but Rav himself says, how does nichash work? Kol nachash she'enu ki Eliezer Eved Avram u'ki Yonasan ben Joel enu nachash. It has to be like Eliezer Eved Avram. That what? He said that the girl is going to come out and she's going to do X, Y, and Z. Oh, and if she does X, Y, and Z, then it's the right girl. But he was going to depend on it. And he said, this is how it's going to happen. So Taisus asked the question, what? Eliezer is also Mechuyev Anichush. How come he did it? So Taisus says, no, it didn't really happen the way it was. It's not that he put the gold on her and then she said what he wanted her to say. First, she showed that she's a Balas Midos and she has everything. Then he gave the gold and Ein Mugdam Muchar B'Torah. Because even though the Torah says, he says, he went and he put the tzmidim on. He did all the stuff, and then only afterwards she said the stuff. So he wasn't relying on it. And okay, Yonasan ben Shaul, Eini Nachash. Yonasan ben Shaul, he said that he's going to go fight all the Plishtim, him and one other person, and he gave a sign. He said, if they're going to call me to them, that means we're going to destroy them. And if they're going to come to us, then we're going to run. It's not a good idea to start out with thousands of people, 2 people against who knows how many. So again, it's Nachash. He says, okay, that's also he just wanted to show it was like a way to motivate himself, etc. But he wasn't relying 100% on it. But for us, the way it looks like, for the way it says in the Torah, that's the Nachash you're not allowed to do. When you rely 100% on the words, even though these people in particular didn't, you're not allowed to rely on it. So Rav didn't rely on it. He just said, oh, it's a great sign. If the boat comes on time, without me calling it, then we're going to have a Suda. Says the Gemara, the reason is, El Suda Sarushus Habi. Rav lemishanim is Suda Sarushus. What's a Suda Sarushus? Suda Sarushus is, if a daughter of a Talmud Chacham marries an Amaretz, it's not a Suda Mitzvah. It's a Suda Sarushus. If a Bas Koyin marries a Yisrael, it's not a Sudas Mitzvah. So it says also that Talmud Chacham should not benefit from a Sudas Rishus. So he didn't want to benefit from Sudas Rishus. Yeah, that's the Sudas Rishus. Yeah, it's not Asr. It's not Asr, but it's not a good thing. So, I think it says. I'm pretty sure it says Bas Koyin 2a to Yisrael. Look it up. I saw it somewhere. All right, so just forget that part, okay? Bas Talmud Chacham, we'll look it up afterwards. Says the Gemara, Rav Bodik b'Mabara. So as we see from this sugya, Rav used to check the ferry. If the ferry showed up, he knew it was a good idea to travel that day, without him calling it. If he went to the station and there was no ferries and he had to wait a little bit, he didn't travel. It wasn't a good idea. Shmuel Balik B'Sifra. Shmuel, they do this in Crown Heights, I heard. They go to the caver, they open up like a Sichas the Rebbe, and whatever it says there, that's no? It's basically
not exactly like that, but
it's something, no?
It's not at the caver, you can do it anywhere.
No, you can do it anywhere?
Anywhere.
It's not considered. It's not considered.
Gorilla Gross. The Gorilla Gross, you open up 7 pages and then you go 7 lines.
It's their version of it.
Rabbi Yochanan, yeah. Oy, I was right again. Wow. Okay, sorry guys. Say that. You hear that? Baskoyin Israel. Both my brother-in-laws are kohanim. Oh, but what if it's a Bas Talmud Chacham? It's my father's shtickle Talmud Chacham. It doesn't. Oh, she's a Bas Kohen, right? You're right. Yeah. So I'm not a Talmud Chacham. Yeah. Okay, fine. Okay, sorry. Rabbi Yochanan Bali B'Yenuka. Now, Rabbi Yochanan would go to a kid and say, "What do you learn today in Cheder?" Like, isn't that the story of Purim? Like with Mordechai? No, who did it? We had a few times that they checked the kids. So now the Gemara says a story with Rabbi Yochanan and how he checked with the psukim of a kid. Says the Gemara, Kuli Shnei Derav, have a cost of late. By the way, not to scare you guys, but tomorrow starts a massive sugi of Taroivis. It goes for 4 daf. It's very, very cool stuff. But this is just like a prelude, like to get you into it, like to think you should come to church tomorrow. There's going to be more Gishmak Agata. So you should just know this is just like a way to get you into it. Yeah, I know. You're not going to be here anyway, so... Oh no, it's Sunday.
The next parak is not better.
No, it's not... If you look at these dapim, they're tiny. They're harmless. There's geschmack. We're going to be finished here every day in 20-25 minutes.
We go anyway.
Yeah. I'll make sure that doesn't happen. When Rab was alive, Rabbi Yochanan, the Galadar in Eretz Yisrael, would correspond with Rab in Bavel, and he'd write to him, L'Kodem Rabbeinu Shebebavel. He would call Rav Rabbeinu. Kinoch Nafshei. So when Rab was nifter, who took over? Shmuel. Have a cause of the Shmuel, L'Kodem Chavereinu Shebebavel. Hey, how you doing, buddy? Chavereinu. Omar, Shmuel didn't like it. Lo yideli midi de Rabbi ano. I must find something that I'm greater than Rabbi Yochanan, so he'll start respecting me and calling me Rabbeinu. They explained it wasn't like Gaiva, but Shmuel was in charge of the whole Bavel. He needed people to respect him. If Rabbi Yochanan called him a friend, it wasn't good for him. He needed Rabbi Yochanan to call him Rabbeinu. Kosav shodale iburo deshitin shnei. Shmuel was a genius in astronomy, so he did the Ibur Hashana for 60 years in advance, and he sent it to Rabbi Yochanan, look at me. Let's see you match this. Rabbi Yochanan was unimpressed. Omar hashta chushbonu ba'al miyoda. Okay, so he's good at math. Kosav shodale kleiser gamli svege treifasa. So he sent him 13 camels of treifas, of different animals of treifas. Rashi says on the spot, lav dafka. It's not 13. Okay? So you see the concept that even though we learned the other day that there's only 3 times in Shas that there's guzmois, Rashi has no problem with that. He didn't mean 13. It doesn't mean 13. It means a lot of treifas. Oh. What? Yeah. You're right. But it's still
13 sheets.
a lot, yeah. Well, gvilim, it could be even more than sheets, but yeah. So now Rabbi Yochanan was very impressed. Omar Isli Rabbi Bavel. Oh, I have to be Mechabed Shmuel. I'm going to leave Eretz Yisrael, I'm going to go to Bavel. I got to visit him. Omar Leili Yenuka, so is it a good time to travel? So he tells the child, Psoikli Psukach, tell me the Psukim you learned. Omar Leili Shmuel Meis. It's a pasuk in Shmuel that describes how Shmuel died, and that's it. It's a sign that Shmuel is no longer alive. I have no reason to go to Bavel. Omar Shmamino Noch Nafshi de Shmuel. Says Gemara Velohi, Shmuel didn't die. Lo Yishachav Shmuel Elokehech de Litrach Rabbi Yochanan. Min Hashamayim they sent Rabbi Yochanan a sign that he shouldn't leave Eretz Yisrael. So they fooled him. Tanya Reb Shimon ben Elazar Omer, Bayis, Tinoik, V'isha, these 3 things. If a person builds a new house, or he has a baby, like we had 5 babies, right? 5 people in the shir had babies this month. Leah and Hara. V'isha, I don't think anybody has Isha or a new one. So if you do business immediately after one of these 3 events in your life, and it's successful, you should go on. You should know that you're going to have success. And if it's not successful, you should take it slow.
3 times.
Did you learn this? We didn't learn it yet. You can't jump ahead. So even though you're not supposed to do nichosh, you're not supposed to guess, this is not considered guessing. This is considered more of a good omen. It's a good siman. Omer Lezer, Vudis chazik nosis zimnei. So Lezer ruins it a little bit. He says, "Listen, don't get too excited if business goes well after you have a baby. You have to try it 3 times. If after 3 times it goes well, then it's a good siman. Then go for it." T'chsiv Yosef enenu, V'Shimon enenu. That's 2 no good. That's for the bad. So for the good also, it's 3 times. He asked Rav, if you hold Basar shenisalmin is no good, what if you had a piece of meat that it's strung with a string all around, and you left it for 10 minutes, and you come back, there's the same piece of meat. Is it possible that a raven went to the store, got a strung piece of meat, and switched it out? You're laughing. Rav is also laughing. Don't ask dumb questions. Haray's a siman. Of course, it's a siman. There's no way he was able to replace the same exact thing. Iked Amri, he didn't ask a question. Omar Avon Omar Rav, Becharuzin, he didn't ask a question. It was obvious to him that's a siman. He just said a string is a siman. Rav Nachman Ardo Ikla Ligabi Rav Kahana Lepum Naharo B'Mali Yom Dekipurei. Rav Nachman went to this place Naharo, where was it? Lupum Naharo b'mal Yom Kippur. It was Erev Yom Kippur, and Erev Yom Kippur, everybody's eating meat. And we even had in one of the Mishnayos, I forgot about this. We had that in Galil on Erev Yom Kippur. Then a behema is, what was it? Yeah, they have to be Midiyah. Thank you very much. Yeah. There's 4 days, the Yom Tovim, Erev Yom Tov, you have to be Midiyah. So it says then Galil, because Erev Yom Kippur, since the Shechla, so over here also, since it was Erev Yom Kippur, and there's a lot of behemoths, so therefore what happened? And who shechs on Erev Yom Kippur? It's all Jews. So Gemara, also Arvei, and then the ravens came. Shadu kavde v'chul. It was raining from the sky. It was raining liver and raining kidneys. Omalei shloy v'chol. You're allowed to eat it. You don't have to worry. They came from another place. Right now, it makes sense that all that is kosher because there's a lot of animals out there. So it's a shaila whether or not is it over here. If he's mechulik on Rav or not. He holds a Basar shenisalmin island. I think it's this one.
You say in an area where the birds could only bring other kosher.
No, not only birds. Birds are all over the place. But since there's a lot of kosher meat, we have to assume that it came from the kosher. Hold on. Yeah, no, it doesn't say here in Rashi. Fine.
Eli know that it was brought meat. How did he know that it was?
Oh, so we had the question. Now the Gemara asked the question. The Gemara has two roots on that. Rav Chia bar Ovin, itbadlei karkashto. He lost the rectum of the animal. Beidana, between the barrels. Also, Kamid Rav Huna, Omar lei islach simon begavei. Do you have a simon? Is it shaped like a triangle? Do you have a simon? Omar lei loy islach tfiuseina. And this is going to be the sugya. This is the beginning of tomorrow's sugya. Do you have a tfius ayin? Could you recognize it? Like we all remember the sugya from Bava Metzia when we were kids. Tfius ayin, Talmud Chacham. Do you have are you able to recognize it? You don't have a siman, but could you recognize it? In other words, when you see a person, you see another human. Do you have a siman on them? They don't like have a tattoo or anything, but you recognize it. You could. If you needed to describe it to somebody, you wouldn't be able to describe. It's not something that you could say, oh, it's a triangle. The guy's a triangle. He has 2 eyes. No, but to you, that shape, I don't know how you know it, but it's recognizable. So that's the difference between a siman and there's facial features that you don't know how to describe necessarily. Maybe to like that FBI artist, maybe. But I'm saying a siman means that you know that it looked a certain shape. You have a very specific siman. This is not a siman. This is not something that you could tell somebody else. So it's called tfius ayin. Omelei in, I could recognize it. Imkein zil shkol. So tfius ayin, says the Gemara, is enough to eat it. Rav Chanina choizah eat balei gabe de bisra. These are all weird pieces. He lost the back of the animal. Also, Rav Nachman, same thing. Amalei islach simon begavei, amalei loy islach tviyasein begavei, amalei in kein zil shkol. Rav Nazim bar Abaye itbelei ki boyred tchelta. He lost the whole spool of tchelas. Also, Rav Chizda, amalei islach simon begavei. Could you give me a siman? Amalei loy islach tviyasein begavei, amalei in. Yes, I can recognize it. Im kein zil shkol. I will see you, Be'ezer Hashem.